Greetings, and welcome back to LA Quill, where we explore the deeper currents beneath fantasy literature, storytelling, and the strange, enduring power of imagined worlds. When we talk about literature and politics, there's often an assumption baked into the conversation that meaningful writing must engage directly with the political realities of its time. That if a story does not take a stance, name a struggle, or mirror a contemporary conflict, it is somehow evasive, detached, or even irresponsible. This assumption is widespread, persistent, and deeply ingrained in modern literary culture. But today I want to challenge it. I want to talk about the beauty of non-engagement and why deliberately stepping back from the overt political specificity can be one of the most powerful and responsible choices a writer can make. To be clear from the start, non-engagement does not mean ignorance. It does not mean pretending the world does not exist, nor does it mean denying the influence of power, systems, or conflict on human lives. Instead, non-engagement is a stylistic and philosophical choice. It is the decision to avoid anchoring a work of literature to a specific political event, trend, or ideology, and to instead explore the underlying structures, emotions, and tensions that exist across eras. When a piece of writing directly addresses the politics of its moment, it gains immediate relevance. It speaks clearly and loudly to readers who are living inside that moment. This can be powerful. It can feel urgent and necessary, even electric. But that immediacy comes with a cost. As time moves on and political landscapes shift, the emotional resonance of that work often starts to fade. What once felt sharp and alive becomes dated, locked into a context that no longer exists. The work survives as a historical artifact, rather than a living story. Now, this does not mean such writing lacks beauty or skill. Many politically engaged works are masterfully created, but their meaning is tethered to a moment in time. When the moment passes, the reader's ability to connect on a deeper level weakens. The work may still be admired and studied and respected, but it is no longer experienced the same way. Its relevance becomes conditional. Non-engaged literature operates a little differently. Instead of responding to a single political reality, it creates space for many realities. By refusing to define its world too precisely, it invites interpretation. Ambiguity becomes a feature, not a flaw. Characters may lack full identities. Settings may feel detached from geography or history. Power structures may exist without clear labels. And in that openness, the reader finds room to project their own understanding of the world. This is where non-engagement becomes not only artistically effective, but socially meaningful. A story that does not tell the reader what to think about a specific political issue allows them to think more deeply about power itself. Maybe about authority, alienation, injustice, bureaucracy, fear, loyalty, resistance, all of these things. These are not tied to any one government, ideology, or century. These are part of the human condition. For fantasy writers especially, this approach is invaluable. Fantasy is uniquely positioned to explore political ideas without replicating real-world systems too closely. The moment a fantasy world starts mirroring a really specific modern political debate too directly, it risks collapsing its own illusion. Readers stop seeing the world as a place that exists on its own terms and begin reading it as commentary first and story second. Non-engagement allows fantasy worlds to breathe. When a kingdom is corrupt without resembling a recognizable regime, when a magical council is inefficient without echoing a current bureaucracy too closely, the story becomes timeless. Readers from different backgrounds and cultures and eras can all find meaning in it. The same story can feel relevant during periods of war, peace, economic growth, or collapse, because it is not arguing about a single issue. It is exploring how systems affect people. This is also where responsibility comes into play. There is a common belief that writers have a duty to address political realities directly. But literature is not legislation, and stories are not manifestos. A writer's responsibility is not to dictate conclusions, but to create spaces where reflection is possible. In many cases, stepping back from overt political engagement actually grants readers more agency, not less. When a story avoids explicit political alignment, the reader becomes an active participant in meaning-making. They bring their own experiences, concerns, and perspectives to the text. The themes emerge through interpretation rather than instruction. This creates a deeper, more personal engagement with the work. The reader is not being told what the story means. They are discovering what it means to them. Now, from a craft perspective, this also changes how we think about theme. Instead of building a narrative around a message, non-engaged literature builds around questions. What happens when authority is unreachable? What does power look like when it is faceless? How does an individual retain identity in a system designed to erase it? These questions do not belong to one era. They persist across time. For aspiring and intermediate writers, this is an important distinction. Writing that begins with an answer often feels constrained. Writing that begins with curiosity tends to remain open. Non-engagement encourages writers to explore rather than to argue, to construct worlds that invite examination rather than deliver verdicts. This does not mean that stories without political engagement are empty or neutral. On the contrary, they often contain some of the most profound examinations of power ever written. By refusing to attach themselves to a single political reality, they speak to all of them. Their themes resurface again and again, each time filtered through a new historical lens. As readers, we often find ourselves returning to these kinds of stories during moments of uncertainty, not because they provide direct answers, but because they allow us to see our situation reflected without being reduced to it. The story becomes a mirror rather than a headline. For writers building long-form fantasy worlds, this approach offers longevity. A world that is not designed to comment on a specific political movement can continue to grow, adapt, and resonate over time. Its conflicts remain meaningful, even as real-world contexts change. Its characters feel real not because they resemble modern figures, but because they embody universal struggles. Choosing non-engagement is not avoidance. It is restraint. It is trusting the reader. It is acknowledging that political reality exists, while also recognizing that literature's greatest strength lies in its ability to transcend the moment it was created in. Ultimately, writers are free to choose their path. Some will engage directly, and there is space for that work to exist. Or for those who choose non-engagement, there is a quiet power in that decision too. A power rooted in openness, endurance, and respect for the reader's intelligence. Non-engaged literature does not shout. It lingers. It waits. It reappears in new forms under new circumstances, carrying meaning forward rather than anchoring it in place. And that is why, in many ways, non-engagement is not a withdrawal from responsibility, but a deeper expression of it. By creating stories that belong to no single moment, writers give their readers something rare, a work that can grow alongside them, no matter what the world looks like outside the page. And that's our tale from L.A. Quill today. Let me know in the comments whether you prefer stories that speak directly to their time or ones that deliberately remain timeless. Until next time, may your stories always be magical.